you all are doing good. So basically आज जो है जैसे टाइटल आप लोगों ने देखा होगा, we are having a session regarding Web 3.0. So आज हमारे साथ जो guest हैं, that is Saad Ahmed. So for a brief intro, Saad Ahmed is basically a graduate from Fast Karachi, and he is currently one of the very few Web 3.0 developers in Pakistan, and he's been directly associated with a foreign company and integration engineer. So please join me in welcoming Saad. Assalamu Saad, क्या हाल है?
Alaikum assalam. Alhamdulillah, Shuja. Thank you for having me on this platform. Really good to be here.
Thank you, Saad, हमारे having a particular topic.
Yes.
So Saad, आपसे जो है वो बेसिकली एक मिनट मुझे दीजिएगा, यार स्ट्रीम रिपीट करनी पड़ेगी, सॉरी फॉर दैट, एक मिनट देना साथ यार आमिर।
Yeah, no problem.
आमिर साथ हमारे पास ऑडियो का मसला हो रहा है थोड़ा शायद ना, तो
Okay.
लेट्स ट्राई। साथ सो बेसिकली रीस्टार्ट कर रहा हूँ, ठीक है?
Sure.
सो सॉरी फॉर दैट। ओके, अस्सलाम वालेकुम एवरीवन, क्या हाल है आप लोगों के? होप यू ऑल आर डूइंग फाइन। सो बेसिकली जैसे कि टॉपिक आप लोगों ने देखा होगा कि आज हमारा जो है वो सेशन है रिगार्डिंग वेब 3.0। सो फॉर दैट वी हैव अ गेस्ट स्पीकर साद अहमद। सो बेसिकली फॉर अ ब्रीफ इंट्रो, साद जो है वो बेसिकली ग्रेजुएट हैं फास्ट कराची के, and he is currently one of the very few Web 3.0 developers in Pakistan. He's currently associated with a foreign company by the name of Advanced Blockchain as a blockchain integration engineer. So please join me in welcoming Saad. Assalamualaikum Saad, क्या हाल है आपके?
Walaikum assalam. Shuja, I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me here.
Thank you Saad, आपने हमारे टाइम निकाला. So basically we were just wanted to like pick your brains regarding this particular topic. साथ बेसिकली हमारे जो कुछ क्वेश्चंस हैं, ठीक है, वी जस्ट वांट के आपकी जो है वो एक्सपीरियंस और आपकी एक्सपर्टीज से हम जो है वो कुछ चीज़ों को जान सकें और बेहतर समझ सकें रिगार्डिंग दिस टॉपिक. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी जस्ट वांटेड टू नो इन जनरल के वेब 3.0 बेसिकली है क्या, कॉन्सेप्ट क्या है इसके पीछे, एंड ऑफ कोर्स अगर हम वेब 3.0 देखते हैं तो इट सीम्स लाइक अ वर्जन, तो यानी कि कोई वेब 0.2 भी होगा एंड वेब 1.0 भी होगा. तो इन रिलेशन टू दैट कैन यू टेल समथिंग अबाउट वेब 3.0?
Yes, of course. So basically, when it comes to Web 3.0, you should first understand what Web 1.0 and Web 2.0 is. And Web 1.0 basically started in the 1990s when some of the scientists at MIT were, just trying to get the information from one computer to another by transferring it through some medium, using software, using hardware. And so what they came up with was some sort of a platform where user would be able to publish a static website which was not much interactive, but users would be able to view the information on it. The good example of such a website would be Wikipedia, where people usually go and look at the stuff, read the stuff, look at the concepts and everything. So the basic idea is, just having a static website which provides you information, and that's what Web 1.0 came up with, which was innovative in its own, because users would be able to transfer information from one computer system to the another. Oh, it was a groundbreaking invention, I would say. And so the next big thing in the web space was, not just to allow users to publish information rather than to edit the information that has already been published, and update the information, and then ability to interact with all of this information, create new stuff, create new content on the go. A good example of this is the applications that you guys use in your everyday lives, which are Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. What you're basically doing is, up to like, it has grown to a very massive level, or इसमें अब there are a few big companies that are, just the big players that have all of the ground of the internet covered. For example, Google. अगर Google की हम बात करें, Google allows you to interact with web applications, enter your information, and retrieve their information, and process their information for your own need. But in the middle of all this, what they are doing is they are tracking you extensively. Like, अगर मैं Google की बात करूँ, तो they even track you using one single pixel on your entire web page. तो और इसको pixel tracking भी कहते हैं. So there's this whole tracking thing going on. Basically, what I'm trying to define here is Web 2.0, where users are able to, publish information, retrieve information, and make use out of it. But the bad or downside of this version of the internet was that the users are being tracked massively, and this version of internet is favoring a very few companies on a very massive scale. If you look at Amazon, if you look at Google, if you look at Facebook, like, their revenues for each year are intense and immense. And what they're doing is just they're advertising uh, some something to the users and selling their data. I wouldn't call it selling data or anything, but they are just using data and just benefiting from them. And so how Web3 comes into play is a bit different. Web3, the whole idea of Web 3.0 is to have decentralized peer-to-peer networks. Peer-to-peer networks are basically, they are service providers themselves. For example, if we look at Google, if we look at Facebook, if we look at some other companies, what they're doing is they're providing you services through their own custom software, which are hosted by their servers or data centers or anything like that. And so the idea of Web 3.0 is that users would not be having a single source of services. Rather, they would be able to provide services to their own network even. So the general idea is just to have a more secure, user-friendly, revenue-friendly network that is not acquired by one single big company.
ओके साथ, थैंक यू, दैट्स अ ग्रेट इनसाइट. सो अगर इसी के ऊपर एक्सटेंड करें हम थोड़ा सा, तो बेसिकली आपने पीयर टू पीयर डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड एक नेटवर्क की बात की, जहाँ पर ओनरशिप किसी एक एंटिटी के पास नहीं होगी, रादर देन हर यूजर के पास काइंड ऑफ उसकी ओनरशिप होगी. तो बेसिकली वी आर ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड कि व्हाट आर द बेसिस फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर टेक्नोलॉजी. किस तरीके से हाउ वुड दैट बी पॉसिबल कि किस तरीके से इसको डिसेंट्रलाइज किया जाएगा, क्या बेसिस होगी इसकी?
Acha, so if you are a computer scientist, then you would obviously know okay, what peer-to-peer networking is. Basically, a computer acts as a node. They provide you data and they process data on your behalf as well. So there's this whole concept of peer-to-peer network in its own. But people have been adding blockchain into this whole system as well to be able to add more security layer, I would say, to the entire thing. Usually when it comes to I would say decentralization, it's not necessary to have a blockchain running on your system just to be able to provide ownership to the users, right? You can come up with some other ways as well. But what people are more focusing towards is that they want to incorporate blockchain, cryptography, and all of that is stuff into the peer-to-peer network as well, to provide more security, no one is able to break it very easily. No one is able to just one thing written on a blockchain, it's not editable afterwards. So that's also another layer of application that you could have. So they're merging all of these technologies, and then combining things into one single, a decentralized network. And there are multiple decentralized networks running right now, which are Polkadot, Ethereum, and they all are made up of concepts of peer-to-peer networking, concepts of blockchain, concepts of scalability. So there's a lot of things going on in this space. I cannot just say that one specific component creates a decentralized peer-to-peer network, at least now. When it comes to back in 2010, when Bitcoin came in, I would have rather said that it was very basic implementation of cryptography, blockchain, peer-to-peer networking, and the entire thing combined into one was Bitcoin. But now it's not the case. They are doing much more and amazing work now.
Okay, Saad, thank you so much for such a detailed answer. अगर जैसे कि ब्लॉकचेन के टॉपिक्स हैं, क्रिप्टोग्राफी एंड ये सारी चीज़ें आपने बात की, तो अगर अगर हम वेब 3.0 खास तौर से एंड ब्लॉकचेन की अगर हम बात करते हैं, तो वी यूजुअली हेयर अ टर्म कॉल्ड एनएफटीज। तो क्या यहाँ पर एनएफटीज का कोई रिलेशन है, और अगर है तो व्हाट्स दैट अबाउट, कुछ इसके बारे में बता सकते हैं आप?
हाँ, एनएफटी का रिलेशन ऐसा है शुजा भाई के एनएफटीज आर बेसिकली एज आई मेंशन दैट नथिंग ऑन द ब्लॉकचेन इज म्यूटेबल। आप उसको वंस एनीथिंग हैज गॉन टू द ब्लॉकचेन टू बी वेरीफाइड और वैलिडेटेड या सिक्योर होने के लिए, तो उसको जो म्यूट करने का तरीका है या उसको जो एडिट करने का तरीका है, यू हैव टू राइट कस्टम लॉजिक, और अदरवाइज इट विल बी इट विल नॉट बी एडिटेबल फॉर अ व्हाइल। एंड सो उस एप्लीकेशन को यूज करते हुए दे केम अप विद एन ERC 721 स्टैंडर्ड। ये बेसिकली एथेरियम पे इंट्रोड्यूस करवाया गया था ERC 721 के नाम से। और इसका मकसद ये था कि जिस तरह टोकन्स बनते हैं, जिस तरह करेंसीज बनती हैं, राइट, हर करेंसी जो होती है वो ट्रेडेबल हो सकती है, वो डिवाइडेबल हो सकती है। बेसिकली अगर आप 10 रुपीज़ को 5 में जो है डिवाइड करके किसी को सेंड करना चाहें, तो यू कैन डू दैट। There are a lot of applications for normal currencies, but when it comes to NFTs, NFT is like more of an ownership thing. NFT का मकसद ये होता है कि अगर मेरे पास NFT है या किसी के पास NFT है, तो वो उस चीज़ को ओन करता है, राइट। जैसे मैंने पहले भी आपको बताया था कि ब्लॉकचेन के की रिक्वायरमेंट ये भी थी कि पीपल वांटेड टू ओन द कंटेंट दैट दे हैड ऑन एनी नेटवर्क, राइट। It's literally like if you are using Facebook right now, if you're using Instagram right now, any post that you do on the platform is owned by servers of Instagram and Facebook. It's not owned by you at all. And so when it comes to a decentralized network and an NFT, if it's held by you, and there's this other computer running in Russia or China or even Denmark, and they're running on the same blockchain network, then they would definitely know that there is this interface that allows us to know that this particular NFT is owned by me or you or anyone's other wallet address. So that's how NFTs come into play. But the application of NFT is like a very naive one right now, because what people are doing is just creating some random gifs and dog emojis and then selling them as NFTs. I don't personally think the application of NFT is such a limited one, because it allows you to come up with ownership infrastructure, and so we could utilize government documents on such via such applications. We can do a lot of stuff which is not being happened right now, but sooner or later, inshallah, we will see this space grow quite a bit.
Perfect. Thank you, Saad, for that. And NFT से so basically what I understand is that कि मतलब basically आप कह रहे हैं कि definitely इसकी implementations बहुत ज़्यादा हैं, लेकिन the way people are using it right now, वो उसकी full capabilities को उस तरीके से realize नहीं कर रहे हैं.
No,
So
because
hmm.
the prejudice when it comes to blockchain is that people are literally using it to make it as a money making machine. and which is true to some extent because I think पाकिस्तान में भी हर दूसरे बंदे के मोबाइल में फाइनेंस इंस्टॉल है, उनको पता है ओपन सी क्या है. Everyone wants to make money. That is the point. But like the scope of blockchain and the entire space is much more than just making money. There are many more applications.
सही. तो जो अगर अगर हम एक और एक एक कुछ चीज़ें होती हैं जो डेफिनेटली कम इनटू लाइट क्योंकि थोड़ी फ्लैशी होती हैं. तो अगर हम एक और एक फ्लैशी चीज़ की बात कर लें कि मेटावर्स, फेसबुक, राइट? सो मेटावर्स का एक टॉपिक बहुत चल रहा है आजकल, एंड वो जो कॉन्सेप्ट है
Hmm.
ज़ाहिर है बहुत कंट्रोवर्शियल भी है. लेकिन क्या
Hmm.
दैट रिलेट्स समहाउ टू वेब 3.0? क्योंकि अगेन वही वाली बात कि यहाँ पर भी शायद एनएफटीज का रिलेशन कुछ मेटावर्स से आ जाता है. तो क्या वो वेब 3.0 पे बिल्ड है, वेब 2.0 पे है, किस रिलेट करती है वो इस चीज से?
इट्स नॉट रियली नेसेसरी कि जो मेटावर्स की टर्म है ना वो डायरेक्टली रिलेट करे वेब 3.0 से और ना ही ब्लॉकचेन से. मेटावर्स इज समथिंग दैट कैन इवन एग्जिस्ट out of blockchains, out of web3 scope. And the reason is वो वाली फील्ड ना थोड़ी AR and VR से related है. You cannot just combine AR VR with blockchain. There are literally 3 other field of researches within computer science at the moment. एंड आई वुडेंट और मैं इसलिए इन तीनों को एक साथ कंबाइन नहीं करूंगा क्योंकि ईच ऑफ दीज फील्ड्स हैव देयर ओन प्रॉब्लम्स एंड ओन कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज that are not yet fixed. They have to be fixed. Like unme at least 20 years of research required for us to be able to integrate VR, AR, and blockchain together. However, it's not like if you want to, in one way or the other, connect blockchain with these technologies. Let's say if a good example of such stuff is basically Fortnite or any other game. I would say a game is usually a good example of a metaverse or I would say or such an environment where you can interact with other things. And what people actually want to do is have such environments, have such game environments, have such environments where they can do play stuff, meet people, what they usually do in the real world, right? And then use blockchain tokens to be able to interact with the commodities within such environments. That is a very good concept. It has a lot of potential. I wouldn't say that people wouldn't like it if something like that was available, but it is very complex to even like as you mentioned that Facebook was working on it, but like did you see Mark Zuckerberg coming up with an actual implementation and actual prototype? I didn't see him, and even to this day it's 2022, no one has come up with an actual working metaverse. And the reason is pretty clear. There's a lot of research involved in that.
Okay, that's understandable. So Saad, basically now that we have a much clearer understanding of what Web 3.0 is और इसकी implementations कहाँ कहाँ हैं, so basically एक चीज़ जो हम आपसे specifically जानना चाहेंगे was that के like 2019 में आपकी graduation हुई, then आपने किस तरह से आपका career path इस direction में किस तरीके से बना कि एक blockchain integration engineer and then Web 3.0 पे development करना है, ये सारी चीज़ें like in the intro we mentioned के of course you are one of the very few people जो अभी फिलहाल इस चीज पे काम कर रहे हैं. तो how was your journey? किस तरीके से आप इस बात पर आए?
Okay, so as I graduated back in 2019, I started Sophie.ai like as a software design engineer, which is a very generic, designation. And so I worked there for an year, and then afterwards I joined this amazing company, Seed Labs. And so these were like we had a team of 6 or 7 people here, and we were all working on a decentralized derivatives exchange, which is like a big thing on its own. It's like a lot of concepts involved. If you want to look it up, you can go Google and see what it does, how it works, and everything. But so the back in 2021, I guess, I joined Seed Labs and I started working there also as a software engineer. But I was working on Web3 stuff there as a decentralized derivative exchange was built on top of an EVM blockchain. And so we had to look into this. We have to see what's going on in this space and everything. And so I developed my skills quite a lot there, and I was just diving deep into everything that was available on the internet. And so yeah, I developed my skills, and then after a year or so I was approached by this European, basically German company. And so they literally came up with the exact same JD that I had right now within Seed Labs. And so they had an interview scheduled for me. And when I joined the interview, they just handed over me like, so a basic task, which I don't know if would have been basic for me or not, but it was very basic. And I just, like, I solved it within like 3 or 4 hours, and then I just handed over to them, and they were quite impressed. And and after just one day, they handed me the offer and everything. And so that's how I actually came to know that there's a lot of international exposure at this point within the blockchain space, to be honest. And ever since I have joined Advanced Blockchain, I have been reached by recruiters from New Zealand, South Africa, uh, any country you name it, Germany, France, Portugal, Brazil. Everyone just wants a blockchain engineer who knows how to make things work. And so the demand in international market is so vast, is so, I cannot even tell you. And the salaries, they're crazy.
ये आप बेसिकली सर आपने मेरे दो मेजर कंसर्न्स का भी जवाब दे दिया इस क्वेश्चन के साथ कि डेफिनेटली नंबर वन इसके मार्केट कैसी है. सो
हाँ.
वी ऑल नो कि पाकिस्तान के अंदर शायद इतनी मार्केट नहीं है. एम आई राइट?
Yep.
बट इंटरनेशनली आपने कहा कि मार्केट बहुत ज्यादा है एंड ऑफ कोर्स सैलरीज. सो दैट्स अ बिग मोटिवेशन पॉइंट. सो साथ अगर बात करें सेल्फ लर्निंग की, तो व्हाट डू यू थिंक कि अगर आप ग्रेड करना चाहें आउट ऑफ 10 तो सेल्फ लर्निंग इस फील्ड में कितनी अच्छी तरह हो सकती है?
यार, आई वुड से, लाइक, मेरा जितना एक्सपीरियंस रहा है, इवन अभी जिनके साथ मैं काम करता हूँ एडवांस ब्लॉकचेन के साथ, सो व्हाट दे, अब आई डोंट नो हाउ पीपल हैव देयर माइंडसेट विद इन द पाकिस्तानी मार्केट. एंड व्हाट आई हैव ऑब्जर्व्ड इज, लोग पाकिस्तान में ना इतनी सेल्फ लर्निंग के ऊपर फोकस नहीं करते, इवन इन द फील्ड ऑफ कंप्यूटर साइंस. बट दे, what they would rather do is they would rely on some other company or their employer to just tell them कि ये चीजें पढ़ लो, लिख लो, सीख लो, हो जाएगा. So and within the blockchain space ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. अभी तक, like, मेरा 2 years of experience हो गया ऑलमोस्ट blockchain space में काम किए हुए. मैं जिन कोड को देखता हूँ, they are millions of lines of code right now. There's a lot of development going on. बट द प्रॉब्लम इज, वहाँ पे इतनी डेवलपमेंट हो रही है कि उनके पास अभी तक प्रॉपरली डॉक्यूमेंटेशन करने का टाइम नहीं है. इफ यू टॉक अबाउट पोल्का डॉट की चेंज, इफ यू टॉक अबाउट सोलाना की चेंज, those chains, they are not ready to be that much in production. चीजें अभी इतनी स्टेबल नहीं है. एंड सो द रीजन इज, वहां पे फिर क्या नाम है, इतनी रिसोर्सेज भी नहीं है कि आप जाके जो है ना, अब जैसे अगर आपको फ्रंट एंड या बैक एंड का कोई फ्रेमवर्क जाके सीखना हो, तो यू वुड जस्ट गो टू Udemy एंड यू वुड राइट कि भाई मुझे ये कोर्स चाहिए, एंड देयर विल बी थाउजेंड्स ऑफ कोर्स अवेलेबल. बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू ब्लॉकचेन एंड वेब 3 स्पेस, इट्स नॉट नेसेसरीली कि आपको कोड्स मिले. बट अगेन, वेब 3 और ब्लॉकचेन के बारे में ये बहुत अच्छी बात है कि एवरी line of code, everything is open source, everything is available on GitHub. People have come up with curated lists of everything on GitHub. So if you are willing to self learn for this space, you would have to scan GitHub like a crazy person. And I'm not saying resources available nahi hai. Resources are also available, but they are not that top notch for now.
ओके, दैट टोटली मेक सेंस. तो डेफिनेटली एक इमर्जिंग चीज है, तो रिसोर्सेज का तो हर चीज के साथ ऐसा होता है, तो दैट टोटली मेक सेंस. सो अगर हम बात करें कि जैसे कि सादा यू मेंशन के जब जर्मन कंपनी आपको अप्रोच किया, तो आपकी जो जेडी थी, जो उनकी जेडी थी, वो बेसिकली वाज मैचिंग विद व्हाट करंटली व्हाट यू आर वर्किंग ऑन, राइट? सो आप व्हाट यू वांट टू नो इज के मतलब इंडस्ट्री में भी करेंटली ट्रेंड क्या है, लाइक के अगर अगर कोई सेल्फ लर्न करता भी है, लाइक यू मेंशन कि अगर वो बिल्कुल बिल्कुल हार्ड वर्किंग पर्सन है और वो हर तरीके से हर तरीके के डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, ऑल द मटेरियल दैट्स अवेलेबल ऑन द इंटरनेट, तो उसको पढ़ता है, सेल्फ लर्न करता है, उसके बाद स्किल्स आ जाते हैं, एंड लेट्स से कि सेल्फ लर्निंग के बेस पर उसकी जेडी से उसके स्किल्स मैच होते हैं, तो व्हाट्स द ट्रेंड इन द इंडस्ट्री? क्या इंडस्ट्री अभी करंट स्टेट में वेब 3.0 डेवलपर्स को जो हायर कर रही है, डू दे वांट के साथ साथ एक्सपीरियंस भी हो, या जस्ट दे जस्ट फोकसिंग ऑन द स्किल सेट ओनली?
So this is a very good question, and even I myself has have experienced that people in the companies in the Web3 space, they do prefer some experience, some exposure, because obviously this is a very very new thing. Even not a people know about it, right? So the idea for them is to have some sort of a ground fundamental. They seek fundamental knowledge, and they pack it with 1 year 2 years of experience, and then they, if you have such experience, then they would more likely hire you, rather than someone having just the knowledge and not hands-on experience with such technologies. And the reason is because these are very bleeding edge, cutting edge technologies. So even if something's breaking or something's not working properly, this usually takes up a lot of time of yours. And when someone's obviously experienced, they would rather just know at least, okay, what's going on and how I can mediate the issue. So they obviously there is some sort of experience required, but it's not like that totally. I mean, if you just put up your skills of blockchain and web 3.0 on LinkedIn, I'm pretty sure you will be reached by hundreds of recruiters. And so have I, like for the past 6 months. Uh, Recruiters from every part of the world have been reaching out. You just gotta go in there, right, and just keep applying.
Okay, that makes sense. So Saad, basically last जो चीज़ हम आपसे बस before winding this up, we want to know कि in general आप मतलब people जो कि इस चीज़ में interest ले रहे हैं and others जो कि इस चीज़ को इतना मतलब seriously नहीं ले रहे, so what would you say for what like कोई आपके पास कोई उनके लिए कोई opinion हो आपके उनके लिए कोई like what would you like to say to them कि क्या आप फ्यूचर देख रहे हैं रिगार्डिंग, क्या आप इसका क्या फ्यूचर देख रहे हैं वेब 3.0 का? एंड व्हाट डू यू थिंक कि क्या हर किसी को इसके अंदर जो है वो डाइव करना चाहिए, या सर्टेन पीपल जो जो जिनको इसमें इंटरेस्ट लेना चाहिए, तो उनके लिए आपके पास क्या 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 मैसेज होगा?
Is case mein, I would say that people should look into this space because it's currently booming. और लोगों को usually ये एक issue होता है. Even I remember जब मैं graduate कर रहा था, we only had a few spaces to go into. If I was to go for a job, I would rather go for a back-end developer, normie front-end developer, normie full-stack developer, and that would just be it, right? And so these words like blockchain, AI, they sounded very buzzword to me. But now that I'm in this industry and I'm working with such people, I can definitely say that this is not going to go anywhere, at least for another 30 40 years, and this is going to grow a lot. Because blockchain space की अगर आप बात करें, blockchain space ground level से लेके एक्सटर्नल लेवल तक, उसमें कुछ मेजर इश्यूज हैं. एथेरियम की बात करें, जितनी ब्लॉकचेन्स की बात करें, हर ब्लॉकचेन में ना एक अलग अलग स्पेसिफिक इशू है विच दे आर ट्राइंग टू रिसॉल्व. एंड दीज इश्यूज आर सो टाइम कंज्यूमिंग कि ऑब्वियसली अगर हम एथेरियम की बात करें, तो अभी उनका ई 2.0 भी नहीं आया. तो ये सब चीज़ें ना अभी बहुत बहुत इनिशियल फेजेस में डेवलप हो रही हैं. इट्स नॉट लाइक कि ये कल को जाके ख़त्म हो जाएगी, ये परसों जाके ख़त्म हो जाएगी. इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट एट ऑल. एंड सो आई वुड डेफिनेटली सजेस्ट कि जाएं लोग, इसका एक्सपोजर ज़रूर लें. देयर आर फ्यू टेक्नोलॉजीज दैट यू शुड डेफिनेटली लर्न. देयर इज़ रस्ट, देयर इज़, आपकी मैथ्स बहुत ज़्यादा पक्की होनी चाहिए. बिकॉज ब्लॉकचेन के अंदर ना, इवन इफ यू टॉक अबाउट डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड फाइनेंस एंड एवरीथिंग, उनके पूरे जो प्रिंसिपल्स हैं, लोगों को बहुत बहुत छेड़ी सा वर्ड लगता है ब्लॉकचेन. लेकिन लेकिन आई फॉर वन आई कैन अश्योर यू कि ग्राउंड लेवल से लेके कोड लेवल, हर चीज़ में इतनी डीपली मैथ्स इन्वॉल्व है, इतने डीपली इक्वेशंस एंड एवरीथिंग इन्वॉल्व हैं कि यू विल बी फैसिनेटेड बाय द अमाउंट ऑफ वर्क दैट इज गोइंग ऑन राइट नाउ विद इन दिस स्पेस. So I would definitely suggest people to have a look at it. It's amazing technology. It has a lot of potential, to be honest, and it's not gonna go anywhere for a while for sure.
That was great, Saad. So thank you so much, Saad, for taking out time to talk to us. हमारे कुछ questions, हमारे कुछ concerns थे उनको clear out करने के लिए and एक definitely एक अच्छी guidance provide करने के लिए. So we're just hoping that people would see this and would be like motivated to join and learn regarding this field. So
Of
thank you
course.
so much, Saad, for taking out your time to talk to us.
Thank you, Sudha. Thank you for having me
Talented.
again. Appreciate it a
Thank you.
lot.
Thank you, Saad. Okay, take care. Lafez.
Hafiz. Bye.